Hey, hello. Welcome to the 6 million view celebration live stream. Let's just, audio works. Let's just kind of prove it a little bit. See that 6M, and I believe the M stands for million. I could be wrong about that. Could we get a check on that? Talking to my producer here. Could we get a check on that? No? Okay. It's kind of rude. You would think I'd get a little bit of respect now that I've hit 6 million. So pretty cool. Thanks for watching. If you're one of those 6 million individuals, probably like 4 million individuals, or, some people click on it a few times. I'm not sure exactly how that works. But thanks for watching this video, y'all. I thought I would do a little live stream and just talk about, the video, what went into this short little Breaking Bad video, and then we're going to do some other fun stuff. I got some things on the agenda today. If you're watching right now, feel free to say what's up in the chat, and if you're watching in the future, feel free to say what's up in the comments, or don't. You know what I mean? It's fine if you're shy. It's fine with me if you're shy. It might not be fine with other people, but it's fine with me. And so I put out this video 3+ years ago. And, it kind of did really well, like really quick, because it turns out people really like video essays about Breaking Bad, believe it or not. And I had obviously done 8 videos about Better Call Saul. And so people were kind of primed to gobble up this discussion of Breaking Bad. And I am so happy about that. So 6 million views. Now, does that sound a little bit too much like 6 million Jews? It does. I think we were all thinking that, right? That's not just me thinking that because of my generational trauma, but I do think it sounds a little bit too close for comfort. So let's try to get to 7 million views so that there's not that weird kind of like, oof, trigger, right? So, yes, very fun, good things. It's obviously been huge for me. It's by far the most successful creative thing I've ever done by an enormous amount, I guess. Success is relative, and you don't just count success by how many people see something, but it's a measure. It's crazy. Like, I made a bunch of money off of it. I won't go into details, but it was by far the most money I've ever made, like in one chunk. And it changed my life in that regard, really. And it's changed my life in other regards. So I never expected to get an M next to my video views when I started this channel. 5.5 years ago. So I'm going to drink some coffee. Feel free to have coffee. Some people saying hey in the chat or, saying other things. One individual because I watched the video 6 million times. Okay, well, there you go. And then it was really well made. Thank you so much. And someone says I made $100. I made almost $100, yeah. So that was great. I hope you're all doing well. I hope your life is okay. I do still have my day job. Yeah, my life didn't change like that dramatically, but just like, being able to, so I still make money off the video. I mean, I make just like a bit each month. It's not huge, but, so financially it's given me like a nice second income, like really kind of small, but like something substantial. And then it's just like brought attention to me and like given me a little bit more like credibility on the platform. And then like people I know, are like, damn, that's cool. Like, they might view my creativity in a slightly different lens. So someone says I have a playlist of these videos for sleeping because there are no ads and they're great sleep videos. That's great. Yeah, you'll have to worry about. Oh no, I think I got rid of the ads. I was able to get rid of the ads on part 3. They are good for sleeping, and I'll get comments where people are like, I woke up to this video playing, because I guess they have autoplay turned on and YouTube suggested it. And I'm like, great. I'm happy with that. You can watch it while you're awake, while you're sleeping, while you're in a hypnagogic, partial sleep, partial waking state. I'm fine with that. I don't care at all, As long as you're absorbing my thoughts, that's all that matters. So yeah, I mean, I was, really satisfied with this video. I mean, I did work quite a while on it. I think it was honestly like 4 months of work, if I remember, because it was like I believe it was in January. You can listen back to the Verbal Journal podcast that I do, link in the description, where like the second episode or the first episode, I like decided to make a Breaking Bad video. And, that's publicly available on that channel. And so that was in January, I believe, 2023. And then I finished the video in May of 2023. So, I mean, I wasn't working like 24/7, but I was working a lot. And so it was like about 4 months of labor. So that's kind of crazy, But just the process of writing a script, like the writing of the script really takes the longest time. But then there's so much other stuff you have to do. So you write the script and then I have to gather all the clips. And that involves, finding all the clips and gathering them in real time, just like screen recording and gathering the clips. Obviously, editing then takes an incredibly long time as well to edit it all together. Recording the audio takes a bit of time, editing the audio, editing the video. It's quite a process. So, but yeah, I remember when I started this channel when I first got monetized, it might've been through the My Little Pony video that I got monetized. And I was like, oh, it'll be a big break when I get paid minimum wage for a video. That will be a huge milestone. Like realistically, I mean, to get paid minimum wage for creative labor is sometimes that's a huge accomplishment. And that's to ever get to the point where, like, if you do a painting, I do painting. If you do a painting, if you do writing, short story, long story, anything, poem, anything. If you get paid what would be considered minimum wage, I think that's a huge milestone. Often if you're a writer, you send in your stories and you get paid nothing for them to get printed, or you get a little something. So success as an artist has to be viewed. You have to be relative about it, obviously. And there's a lot of different ways you can measure it. And I fully believe it's completely successful to just do something creative, show it to a friend, show it to whoever, a family member, or not. And you're still completely successful if whatever your metric of success, if you achieved what you tried to achieve with something. But there's also this idea of like, oh, I actually got paid for my work. So this Breaking Bad video was definitely the first one and might still be the only one where if I calculate it out, I'm sure I got paid minimum wage. I don't know that I've ever actually done that math, but like I probably did. So that's pretty big. And, yeah. So let's see some comments. Are you proud of your labor? Thank you. I am very proud. I appreciate the question. I watched the whole BCS series twice now. Loved your analysis. I'm sure it's fulfilling to have a project like this get such recognition. Thank you very much for watching. It really is great. Yeah, I mean, it's really great. I think and I got to like practice my skills in the Better Call Saul series. And then I really, like, by the time I got to making this Breaking Bad video, I was so much better at especially editing. The video editing part is a huge part of it. You'll notice, I have these like, in the Better Call Saul series, I have these like screensaver type of designs that I made, and I don't regret it, and it was good, and but it's a little bit not ideal, and it came from me not really realizing if I just put in, a bit more effort, a bit more time, I could gather clips for all the things I'm just mentioning, but not really showing a clip of anyways. So what I'm trying to say is like, I learned, okay, it's worth a bit more extra effort to gather even more clips than I already do so that I have more stuff to play. But the thing is, you don't want to be playing random stuff. You want what you're playing to be. So if I'm talking about like a general behavior pattern of like a character, I want to be careful about what I'm showing because I don't want it to distract. I want it to be aligned with what I'm saying. Even if it's not a perfect example, it has to be like an example of it. So it gets hard when I'm talking in these general terms about themes or patterns or stuff like that because it's like, what do I show? But as I went through the series, I was like, I can find things. If I really look, often I can find things or just spend more time like getting the footage. And it's a lot more enjoyable to watch. Now, obviously, in this video, I still had some moments where there's nothing I can play without it being ridiculous and unrelated. So I would do these visual effects instead of a slideshow, like here, I think might be the first one of this video. Let's enjoy it, right? I hope I don't get copyright claimed. Let's check it out.
Arousal from the badness of his actions, but either way, he's sort of sublimating guilt about his actions, as therapists like me might say. Sublimation is the word in physics for when a solid substance turns gaseous without passing through a liquid stage first, like dry ice, and in psychological fields, sublimation is a word with a lot of Freudian baggage.
So obviously I can't just play clips here from the show. It would be completely irrelevant. So I need to find something to do visually so that I can, so this is where I would bring in the slideshow in the previous, but I thought doing a visual effect is more, is less jarring, cause it keeps you kind of in the content warning. Oh, right. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things that, moments where I do that. All right. The chart, the pro-forgetting and anti-forgetting. That was fun. It's fun being like systematic and then like kind of giving up at a certain point. Another segment. Oh wait, let me see. This is a fun. What did I do here? I don't even remember.
Okay, now I have an exciting announcement. We have another segment. Are you ready for another segment, everybody?
I forgot that I added applause, so I was clapping. That's the funny thing too. When you're editing your own writing or editing the stuff, you'll have if you're thinking logically, you'll have the same thoughts later when you come across. It's like if you're looking at a chess game, which we're going to play some chess later, you'll have like the same thought of what move to do often if you're thinking about it along the same line. So I'm like, oh, there needs to be applause here. Wait, what did I do? I'm like very unskilled with like the rotational effects and stuff, so it's very bizarre. What did I do again here?
Ready for another segment, everybody? This one has a chart involved. You're going to love it. This segment is called Views on Forgetting, Pro-Forgetting versus Anti-Forgetting. Let's start with pro-forgetting, and we'll start with our protagonist. The first was the one we mentioned of him saying things have a way of working themselves out to Walt Jr. in his classroom. There may have been instances I missed, but the next noticeable one to me was...
Yeah, I'm sure there were lots of instances I missed. And people will comment occasionally being like, oh, you forgot about like Gus or something. You forgot about, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds possible. Yeah, I'm sure I did. I'm quite sure I did forget about I forget. Sometimes I'm pro forgetting or anti forgetting. Oh yeah, the music segment where I talk about the music in the show. I was such a fan of some of their musical choices. It was really impressive. So anyways, I thought I'd just kind of talk about the video a little and then we can move on to like other sort of things. But yeah, I mean, it's been huge because it brought so much attention to the channel and really, it's really allowed people to check out my other stuff. This one might hit 1 million views. I mean, I had a copyright issue with it. I talked about on the podcast recently. But whatever, My Little Pony. It's never going to hit 100K, is it? Well, 'tis what it 'tis. Yeah, so, interesting. Lots of interesting stuff on this channel. This is a great one if you haven't watched it yet. Yeah, check out some of these older ones. Some of them are good. This one's really good. This one's good if you've seen the movie, but no one's really seen that movie. This one's great. More people need to watch that. I'm going to talk about relationships a bit today because that's stuff I'm exploring more on the channel. Grease one's good. This one's really good, but no one knows that book yet. Adam Ehrlich Sachs is a great writer and eventually will be very well renowned in the public sphere. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there's lots of lots of things on this channel. So the Breaking Bad video just helps, draw a lot of people to the channel, and that's been really nice. What else? Let's just kind of click through a random part, and maybe I'll have something to say about it. Oh yeah, this was crazy. This show is crazy, y'all. This show is diagnosably crazy.
exploding head on a turtle. But also, Walter's just absorbing that his son is more ethical than him, the Matt to his Mike.
I think that's a good analogy, yeah. That it does seem quite similar.
Show rewards expecting the unexpected, and you learn to anticipate something shocking.
It would be pretty interesting if they ever want to do another spin-off, like, to just center it on Flynn. Flynn as an adult. That would be pretty interesting. I'd be happy to consult Vince. Feel free to reach out.
Like when Hank has Walter in handcuffs, I watched and was like, no, something isn't right. I think it's the fact that there's no music while Walter sits there in the police car.
It was funny, like I mentioned this in the video, but how little spoilers I had. Like people had spoiled a few things, whatever. This person dies, that person dies. But like I really didn't know a lot of the things that were going to happen in the show. So I was able to really, surprisingly for someone who had been making videos on YouTube about it, I was able to get a lot of the original experience. It's a crazy effect. I've had people comment before being like, I was watching this on psychedelic drugs and it was very disorienting or like really enjoyable or something. And I'm like, okay. I mean, in general, I would not watch YouTube videos when you're on psychedelic drugs, probably. I would just try to like, meditate or make art or something like that. Or hang out with friends or something like that. But YouTube could really kill the vibe. Even a very nice video like this one and so on. I'm partway through your video on dialectics. I think it's clear that your overall knowledge as a therapist and your interest in philosophy made the BCS series what it was. Thanks so much, Golden Age Math. I appreciate that. And yeah, that dialectics video was fun. I mean, that was like my big video until the Better Call Saul series. So if I go by latest, I worked a very long time. I mean, that was the type of thing I was writing and I was like, this is going to be a book or something. And then I was like, I don't know about that. I think I'll not, Yeah, but that was, a huge undertaking. I don't know what happened. Like, why won't YouTube do YouTube like restricted it in some way where like, when they don't do the sample, it means that they like restricted it in some minor way. Like, I don't know what I did wrong. Like, it's not like I might have played a clip from something or something, but yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I had fun with the dialectics video. I mean, dialectics, Marxism, chess, and therapy. I just talk about dialectics in these various different domains. But yeah, that was sort of my biggest like undertaking up till that point. Reasonable Expectations was a big undertaking too. That was another one where I was like, maybe this will be like an essay or like it is an essay, but I was like, maybe this will be like a book or something. And it was like, no, this is not going to be a book. I don't think I thought it was going to be a book. I just, yeah. So yeah, appreciate that. And yeah, thanks. I mean, it's funny on YouTube, like YouTube really can be so many different things. So like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm making like almost like an academic thing here. And other times I'm like, I'm just joshing around. I'm just being silly. And it can really be both, sometimes in the same video. When I tell my friends about the BCS series, hell yeah, I always mention that the creator's a therapist because I feel like it's integral to the thoughts of Thanks. I really appreciate that. So it's very cool. It's very cool to make something that people can enjoy. And I think staying off camera was a good call. Obviously, I pop on the end. I'm like, hey, what's up, y'all? Hey. Oh, that plant died. Damn, it used to look so good. Fuck. Oh, it used to look so good. I didn't realize it looked that good. It's right over here and it's like dead. It's like dead. It's like Lindsey Graham dead. So like, I don't know. I just forgot it looked that good. Oh, that's painful. Yikes. I do not have a green thumb. Oh, I had my Walt Whitman book there. It's a Breaking Bad reference, obviously. Damn, that plant looks so good. Ugh. Well, plants can't live forever, right? I don't think. So it's not the end of the world. Probably. Okay, but yeah, so I think it was a good idea to be off camera. Oh, speaking of Walt Whitman, is that him holding the book or is that...
My interpretation that Walter never knew Gail had...
Yeah, Leaves of Grass. which is a great book, by the way. Yeah, I think it was good to be off camera because I didn't, people, when they see, it's better for people to be able to imagine what you look like. They'll imagine you more how they want you to look, probably. So, I just saw it pop up. Yeah, thank you so much, Simply Snaps. I've mentioned this before, but she's a great creator. You should check out her channel if you don't know her work already. She might have surpassed me with subscribers. And she helped me with the script. Like I wrote the script and we'd connected somehow online, and I was like, I just knew she watched my videos or something, and I knew she like knew a ton about Breaking Bad. So I was like, could you review my script and just make sure I don't like make any glaring errors that I'll get roasted for? And she helped a lot. So thank you so much, Simply Snaps. She couldn't help with everything. I still made some mistakes that were my responsibility. Like, I pronounced it haphazard instead of haphazard. I'll never live that down. So yeah, fun times. The chessboard, fun chess. We're gonna do a little chess in a bit. Yeah. So what else? I mean, any other questions about the video or anything like that? I mean.
And Skyler respond to two things: Gus Fring's death and Ted's life-altering injury. Walter notifies Skyler of his...
Breaking Bad is a great show, but I still do like Better Call Saul more. I'm just going to say that. Like, it's just for personal reasons. It's like if you say you like, one painter over another, it doesn't mean they're better, But yeah, I do prefer Better Call Saul. I'm sorry for the bad freeze frame, Skyler. Just, stuff about it is just more, I'm more into the relationship between Jimmy and Kim than Walter and Skyler, for instance. I mean, I was rooting for Jimmy for most of it. Not against Kim. I was rooting for Jimmy against the world to a certain extent. You obviously want him to change what he's doing sometimes, but I was rooting for him. Whereas I was not rooting for Walter in any way, shape, or form, essentially. So it's a little bit harder. Someone says, you said in a live stream you wished El Camino focused less on Jesse. What did you mean by that? Okay, so I do believe I said that, but it's been such a long time, and I only watched El Camino once, I think. Maybe twice, but I think only once. So I think I wanted it to focus more. Yeah, I wanted to see more about Skyler and Flynn's life, I think. That would have been really interesting to me. And all this stuff with Jesse, just in some ways, maybe it felt a little bit replicating what we saw with Walter running away. That's probably not a very legitimate criticism, but it seemed like it was centrally about Jesse, whereas I thought it would have been nice if it was largely also, or a mix of being about Skyler as well. This is not this is more like a preference. It's not really a criticism, but yeah, sorry. I honestly can't even remember a lot of aspects of it, but there were just parts of Breaking Bad that didn't really click for me. There were parts of Better Call Saul that didn't really click for me. I didn't always care about the drug dealing stuff. It's a little bit it's almost like I was more into the crime procedural aspect of it, and certainly the psychological relationship aspect of these shows versus the, I don't even know the right word. Certainly the action scenes. I don't care. I just don't care. That's not a judgment to people who love that stuff. And the crime underworld stuff definitely was interesting a lot of the time, but for me, only insofar as it was psychologically interesting. For example, from Better Call Saul, Nacho having to figure out how to poison Hector and not get caught. That's fascinating. That's very fascinating. But what was not fascinating? I don't know. Sometimes I would lose track of okay, why do they hate these particular drug dealers? Who are they associated with? What's maybe like certain aspects of Lalo versus Gus. Now, that's me watching Better Call Saul when I hadn't seen Breaking Bad, so it makes more sense that I wouldn't totally always resonate with aspects of the Gus situation. But I found Gus fascinating character. Don't get me wrong. Extremely fascinating. But like certain aspects of the drug dealing underworld, I just didn't connect with it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, I'm overstating this a little because it's in my memory and I'm focusing on it rather than like when you're watching it, you're not always like thinking that. Or you're not always like hyper analyzing stuff like this, but yeah, I mean, I don't, it's not really criticism, more just like there's some things you're going to connect with more than other things, naturally. Wanted to say, my favorite part of the whole series was the part about Chuck's EHS and the discussion of mind and body as a dual versus monistic. Thank you. That's something I'm very proud of because it's so like unusual, and I'm quite sure no one else did that. That's in this video. I would be shocked if I would be shocked if anyone else on the internet has done a deep dive into electromagnetic hypersensitivity. So I really did a deep dive, and and then it got into like how we treat the mind as separate from the body, and sort of the maybe ways that we're a little backwards in our mental health, in the state of our mental health treatment. I'll just put in a quick plug. Consider supporting the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member if you have money to spare. Do not worry about it. If you don't, it's not a big deal at all, obviously. But consider it, and I have podcasts that I make that you might enjoy. That every third one is public, but I'll just like advertise it briefly here. So this is the Verbal Journal podcast that I do. Had a new public episode a week and a half ago. New private episode just a couple days ago for the patrons and the members. I'm getting better with my thumbnails. I'm putting more things on them to draw people in. I'm wearing a Pluribus shirt too. Did not end up making a Pluribus video itself. I have the Pluribus. I have like Pluribus content, but I didn't make a whole video essay about Pluribus. I probably will like after season 2 potentially, but I was just like, it's a lot of work, and it's not gonna do that. Like I wasn't really compelled to do it. It's not gonna do that well. Where is it? Thoughts on every Pluribus episode. So this is like plenty. If you want to hear my thoughts on Pluribus, I think that's plenty. I didn't want to do a whole video essay. So this is just a compilation of me talking about it on the podcast. But at every single episode. So I mean, if you want to hear my thoughts, go for it. And then could you please go subscribe and check out the VJP Clips channel? This is where I post clips from the podcast. And unfortunately, the clips, when they get popular, sometimes they go to the wrong audience. So this one went to people who are Republicans rather than left wing. So can you please, it's hilarious. I promise you will not regret it. Go to this video and watch this hilarious cringy clip that I analyzed in detail. And then you can help balance out the right-wing people who are like, yeah, Joe Biden was really corrupt. But I am not going to say anything about Donald Trump, the current Republican president, making over $1 billion in a year as president. But yeah, Joe Biden was really corrupt. I think Hunter Biden got a 10 mil from Ukraine or something. But don't ask me what I think about Donald Trump getting $1 billion in 1 year as president. Because I don't think about that, because I have what's called cognitive dissonance. Thank you very much. So yeah, could you please help balance that out, you left-wing freaks? And then I talked about Maddie's Secret. I had probably some controversial thoughts about it. What do we got? Any more comments in the chat here? Everyone say hi to each other in the chat. Be like, oh, I remember you from the other stream. You know what I mean? Be nice to each other. As someone who watched BCS first, do you think that Breaking Bad ended their characters well, or do you think their characters ended abruptly? I thought it was good. Do I think that Breaking Bad ended their characters well? I mean, it's hard because I'm thinking, first I think of Jimmy, obviously. He didn't end in Breaking Bad. He ended in Better Call Saul in the flash forwards in the last 3 episodes, which I thought was obviously fantastic. I guess like Walter and like, no, I don't think it was abrupt. I'm trying to think if any of them were abrupt. Nothing comes to mind as like too abrupt an ending. Mike's ending was like well done. I'd say Mike's ending was very well done. It was hard to watch Mike in Breaking Bad. I've talked about this before because he was like, he had lost any of his likability by like the last couple seasons of Breaking Bad. I think, you could find counterexamples and be like, well, he was likable when he did this, or, he helped someone like not die in this one moment or something. Now he's not, he's not the most likable guy on Better Call Saul. You see him like murder, what's the German guy's name? Werner, or whatever. I think that's his name, right? Werner, not Werner Herzog, but different Werner. But that's like, that's got to be like the real like beginning of the end for Mike in some capacity. I don't know if that's fair to say, but one of the most powerful scenes in media I've ever seen, when he kills Werner and Werner's like accepting it. It's tragic. It's so tragic. And Mike should not have done it, to be clear. It's not justified. Like, it's not okay. Killing someone so that someone else doesn't kill you is not justified. And I said this again recently, but like Walter and Jesse killing Gale so that they don't get killed by Gus is not justified. That's not what self-defense is. I talked about this in the video about the U.S.'s war in Iran that we're continuing. And losing, like we're just floundering. Our country's completely, obviously, lost this war from like day one when we murdered 100 schoolgirls in a school. Like it's we've just completely lost this war. But anyways, yeah, I get comments where people are like, but I don't know, like self-preservation, like it's never justified to Werner Ziegler. Thank you. It's never justified to kill someone so that someone else doesn't kill you. Like, sorry. Like, you've gotten yourself in a bad situation and that's your fault, but you don't get to just kill someone. So, you can do what you want, I guess, but it doesn't make it okay, obviously. So that's fine. That's not a criticism of the shows. It's a criticism of the fans who comment to me, actually, Tuco was gonna kill them. So, so like, I don't, so it's like, even then, it wasn't a third party. Like, even then, like killing someone because they're planning to kill you is not justified. It has to be imminent. It has to be an imminent threat. Favorite Jesse moment? Probably when he goes to rehab and when Walter visits him in rehab and Jesse's like actually starting to have like a sense of like what's healthy for himself in his life and is not attracted by the idea of money or power. In that scene where they're in that like huge like circular room, like dome like room. Basically anytime he put boundaries between himself and Walter in any capacity. It's tragic what Walter did to his former student. Obviously Jesse had agency and was an adult, but Jesse made a bad decision in that first episode to join with Walter. Obviously. Let's just click to a random other thing, see what comes up.
Good Morning Freedom, which just says it all, I think. It does make you wonder, though, who is free here? The guy who got lied to and manipulated into being here, or the one who doesn't seem like he could stop making methamphetamine if he tried? But anyway, that sort of thing where the lyrics of the song directly echo Jesse saying good morning happens a bit, including most obviously in the very second episode. Here, a 1961 song by Clyde McPhatter starts low and is heard on Walter's car radio, and then as Domingo runs into a tree, the song gets louder and goes, "Baby, you knock me out." The music is it's a little corny, but like you can't hate. That's like a stylistic thing. That's something that is very intentionally done, and they're going for that sort of corniness in a way. It's supposed to. It's probably supposed to make it easier
to watch the protagonist do something really, really, really bad, right? I mean, so sorry, I'm a little sick, so you might get a few sniffles. What else?
Affected by events. The whole series has shown us time after time how Walter has the ability to let guilt pass conveniently over him like he has some sort of immoral force field. Like when he's given the mic at the school assembly about the mass trauma event of a plane crash he had more than the average amount of responsibility for.
I like how I wrote that line. He had more than the average amount of responsibility for. Because I know people online are going to be like, that's not his fault. That's not his fault. I mean, I literally had someone comment the other day, like, Jane OD'd. It's like, I know Jane OD'd. That's not the point. Like, he had the ability to save her life, and he let her die. He is responsible for her death. She's also responsible for her own death, but there's enough responsibility to go around. He's responsible for her death. Is he responsible for the fact that Jane's dad, Donald Margolis, right? Is that his name? That he was still working at a job? Well, no. I mean, the underfunding of the FAA, the lack of government attentiveness to the importance of safety and security in our country. We have, 3,000 or 4,000 too few air traffic controllers in this country right now? I mean, it's unfathomable, and it makes me feel pretty unsafe about the idea of flying. But no, it's not it's not fully Walter's responsibility that Donald Margolis was still going to work when he was grieving his daughter's death that Walter was partially responsible for. But it's a little bit his responsibility. I mean, it's mostly Donald Margolis, and then it's also Donald Margolis's employer. But there's enough responsibility to go around. I like that expression. I say it a lot because I think people are a little bit simple-minded sometimes about responsibility. It's kind of like black and white thinking, one-track mind. Oh, it's got to be this one person responsible. So it's like there can be multiple people responsible for things to different extents. It's just hard to fully understand sometimes. So what else?
Ketamine. This episode has another instance of Walter indulging his hanging up the phone kink. Here, after a nice long pause of deciding to let Jesse panic that all their drugs had been stolen rather than Walter having taken the stash to sell to Gus. It felt like another act of fate later in the episode.
Like, that's the type of thing where it's like, I mean, obviously this is well into the series, like, but it's just like Walter, like, had like no redeeming qualities. Like, I don't know, maybe that's too strong of a statement, but he was just so hard to watch sometimes. Like, I understand being hard to root for. He's an anti-hero. He's a whatever. But it's just like, I wanted him to get caught the whole time. And maybe that's a me problem. I wanted him to get caught. Frankly, I wanted him to die, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I didn't always feel that way, but watching him be responsible for other people's death, I was like, I want him to die. Now, that's not a healthy mindset, but I'm just being honest. I had those thoughts occasionally. I was like, I hope that he dies. And he did. So I kind of manifested that, I think. But mostly I just wanted him to be held accountable, which he, wasn't, really. Well, I mean, there's forms of indirect accountability, like losing his connection with his family. Yeah, so, I mean, it's a brilliant show. Don't get me wrong. It's a brilliant show. It's a beautiful, tragic drama. But it was just hard to watch sometimes because I was like, I was like, I just don't, I didn't care about him, I guess is the easiest way to put it. Like, I didn't care about him at all. And you could say, well, why'd you care about Jimmy? He was scamming people from the first episode. He was, that's, it's just different. It's a matter of degree. It's a matter of how much good and how much bad someone's doing. And it's a matter of degree. But I was just hard to care about the old Walty White. The old Walter White. So what I love is I don't even talk about like masculinity in any significant sense. I talk about it a little bit, but then 2 hours in, I really dropped the bomb. And so I get comments from people who are very triggered by my comments about masculinity because they apparently think I'm like, some people don't really understand you can like critique unhealthy expressions of masculinity without critiquing masculinity. You can critique the way masculinity is hijacked in our culture and in our economic world without critiquing the idea of being a man. Not to brag, but I'm also a man, so I'm not. I don't have a problem with my own masculinity. I don't think I'm pretty comfortable. But it's funny because I'll get comments from people very triggered by that, and I know they just watched my video for 2 hours, and I'm like, gotcha, cha-ching. So, what did I say?
State. Masculinity is not toxic just when it motivates someone to murder rather than swallow their pride. Masculinity is also toxic when it motivates someone to damage their relationships by avoiding empathy and respect for other people's emotions. But as we saw Flynn use masculinity to try to motivate his dad to treat his cancer, of course there are so many positive ways to be masculine. Breaking back.
So I've gotten a couple comments throughout the years, like really only a couple, where people are like, I don't think it's okay at all for Flynn to have told his dad that he should fucking die already. How could you say that's okay? Wow, you must be a pretty bad therapist if you think it's okay for a teenager to tell his dad, like, fucking die already. Or, like, what did he say to his dad? Like, the masculinity thing, he was like, you're being a bitch or something. I forget what his other line was. And it's like, sorry that a teenager got upset with his dad. Like... Like, what are you talking about? Like a teenager, like saying something kind of like harsh or like quite harsh to his dad in this context where his dad is literally saying like, peace out guys, I'm going to die. I'm not going to do the treatment I need. So have a good life without me. Like, yeah, the teenager's allowed to say like whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, he's allowed to say whatever he wants and then let it out and then work through it and so on. Like, but it's hilarious sometimes people being like, wow, how could you say it's okay for him to say that? He's a teenager. That's how. And he's a teenager dealing with a lot of shit. So he's allowed to just get upset. Like, it's not like... What else? Yeah, there's a lot of thoughts come up. I could just click around and brings to mind thoughts.
Then why don't you just fucking die already?
What are the odds of me just clicking to that? That's crazy. That's kind of crazy that I literally just randomly clicked to the exact line I was just talking about at a completely different point in the film. Also, Flynn, what are you watching, dude? You gotta be chilling with Lewis more. I remember he was chilling with Lewis. They were watching Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Now he's alone. What is he watching? Charlie Chaplin? Like, what is that, Flynn?
This line is 100 times more badass than I Am the Danger, in my opinion, but it's even surpassed by the raw power of Walt Jr.'s line in the intervention in the next episode.
All the stuff I've been through, and you're scared of a little chemotherapy?
Yeah, I mean, completely valid. Completely valid. It's also valid to be scared of chemotherapy, but it's not a healthy response to fear, but to say I'm going to let myself die. Sorry. That's crazy that I just clicked to that. That's like, you all saw that in real time. I did not even... what did you think of the dinner scene when Walt says that Gail was copying someone else? Well, Walt was copying someone else. The dinner scene where Walt says that Gail was copying someone else. I honestly... It might be the spelling error, or I genuinely don't remember everything about the show. So I actually need you to clarify what you're referring to. I'm sorry about that. To be honest, like, there's a lot of aspects of the show I don't totally remember. So yeah, there are many people who know Breaking Bad better than me. They just don't make videos about it necessarily, or they're not maybe as good at like crafting a video essay. But so yeah, I honestly forget like many aspects of the show, so I will need that to be clarified. I think you might mean the dinner scene between Walter and Gus, but like I don't even know. All right, let's click. Oh, I also, I've said this probably before, but like this scene, Marie is so funny. Like she is so funny in this scene. Do I have the clips of it? She's like, the way she like nods. Oh, here. Yeah, this might be it.
And yes, I know that chemotherapy can be very hard. I just think it's a very beautiful
The way
moment of
she's like, I mean, she has every right to share her thoughts, but the way she's like going for the pillow, and she just seems like a little bit less like disturbed than everyone else. Marie was probably one of my favorite characters in the show, maybe my favorite character besides Saul.
Walter Jr. standing up to his dad, speaking truth from his
She was just hilarious. I love that she comes back in Better Call Saul too.
experience and pointing out a huge flaw in Walter's logic. Because how is Walt Jr. supposed to feel, and how is he supposed to view his own life if his father doesn't demonstrate a willingness to try to live? How much harder must it be for Walt Jr. to view his own life as worth living if Walter doesn't treat his life as worth living? How much
I think that's a fair point. I mean,
cost is Walter trying to imply makes a life suddenly not worth living?
I'm not trying to be like not empathetic. I'm empathetic to Walter's situation. It's extremely difficult for people who are dealing with chronic illness. Like, and obviously it's understandable for people to feel depressed and even have suicidal ideation. Obviously it's understandable. It's just not, it's not a healthy and justified thing to do to let yourself die. Sorry. You know what I mean? So, Walt is having dinner with Hank and Marie and was drunk and was like, I'm a teacher. It looks like copying, to Gail's notes. Oh, wow. Like I barely remember that. Yeah. Hank is talking about feeling that with the notebook of Gail's cooking notes that he's finally found his highs. Oh, okay, right. Hank is like, oh, I found, but Walt gets very drunk, very annoyed at being overlooked. Right. Okay. Thank you for explaining this multiple people. I needed the Hank insists to Hank that the notes are just copying someone else, not original. And the look Scally gives him. That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's perfect. It shows that Walter's ego is bigger than his self-preservation instinct. Right. He even when it, yeah, like even when it makes it more difficult for himself. Yeah, thank you all for reminding me. He's willing to put himself in like serious risk of getting caught because he doesn't like someone else getting credit, which is, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I guess it just shows like how unfulfilled Walter was in his life, like from the very beginning, that he's not really doing this for his family. What he's looking for is not a feeling of connection with his family. He's looking for a feeling of power and efficacy and specialness and so yeah, no, that was it. That was a great scene. Yeah, no, definitely one of the types of scenes I like forgot. You know, there's so many good scenes in the show, and it is a good show to rewatch. I don't do it really. I don't do it, but I could understand. You know, I can understand rewatching because there's a lot of real gems in it. I just wouldn't want to rewatch certain scenes that are really disturbing and stuff like. But you know, you could skip them. I visited a friend and he was watching Breaking Bad, so we did watch a few episodes. I was talking to my friend on the phone before we did that, and he was like, yeah, I'm in like season 2 now. I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, season 2, episode 8. And I'm like, oh, Better Call Saul. Like that's the one episode off the top of my head. I know the season and episode number because I had gone to it so many times in the process of making this video essay, season 2, episode 8. Amazing episode. Amazing episode. What else?
Truly think that you'd forget. Well, let alone Gail, let alone Victor.
He goes on to remind Jesse of Tomas, the child murdered by Jesse's associates directly after Jesse tried to help protect him. Jesse transforms in this scene as fully as he did in the earlier one, also at his house, except here he doesn't.
I know they did a lot of bonus. This is not exactly related to what we're watching. I just saw him painting the wall and it made me think of art and white walls. It'd be great to see like did they ever do like a bonus scene where like Jesse, it's just, I'd love to watch like 30 minutes of Jesse and Jane walking around that museum they went to or didn't go to. I maybe they didn't make it to the museum. I forget if they actually, yeah, they might not have made it, but they went to some museum. Did they? But I would love to watch them I just fucking love art and paintings, honestly. So it would be great to see that. Okay, so this is classic scene. Spoiler alert for Breaking Bad, by the way.
As Saul break the news to Skylar about what happened to Ted during the execution of their plan, he puts it this way.
It's an act of God. There's no right, there's no wrong. I mean, it's just, that's the best phrase. It fits.
Bob Odenkirk is such a gem. What an absolute gem. They do go to the George O'Keeffe Museum in El Camino. Okay, I thought so. I thought they did. Right. Which is great. George O'Keeffe's amazing artist, and that makes sense because they're in the area that she lived in for so long after she left New York, and was in, I guess, a long distance relationship with Alfred Stieglitz, who was her husband, much older and meaner. He was apparently kind of a jerk, and a little bit of a weirdo, but he was a very successful photographer, extremely influential photographer. And a successful gallerist. He had, I believe his gallery was called like the 291 Gallery. I might be confusing it with a different one. And he did help Georgia O'Keeffe, but she also earned her success entirely. So yeah, they lived apart. She would barely even admit she was married to him, I think, for most of her life, which is totally understandable. But yeah, George O'Keeffe, fantastic artist. Yeah. What else? I mean, I didn't actually know what to talk about so long. I figured I would just click around and talk about things. So let's see what else.
Excuse, it's just part of the context of seeing Walter be like,
corner the market, then raise the price.
yeah, I wonder where he learned that and internalized that, obviously. A few episodes
Capitalism. Shout out capitalism.
later, he's quoted as having to pay $170,000 to $200,000 for the operation on his remaining cancer. It seems absolutely absurd, and you almost can't help making a mental connection like Walter's being preyed on by a global systemic type of greed that impacts all of us, and then because he's who he is, he expresses it how he does. Of course, his money couldn't buy him relationships after everything he did.
I have $11 million in cash right outside.
Unfortunately,
No one cares, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously insane. That a school teacher should have to pay six figures to not have cancer. It's insane. And in most civilized nations, this is not how it works. So it's really rough in the United States. It's not that complicated. We need single payer universal health care like they have in so many other countries. As far as I understand, no country has ever decided to no longer have single payer universal health care once they've had it. You even see, as far as I understand, in the UK, even the far right is not we're going to get rid of it because it's not tenable. So, so yeah, we just need single payer universal health care. I mean, it's not, you could have private options, but you need everyone to be covered by health care. I was thinking about this the other day. It's do you think there should be children who don't have health care? Should there be children who do not have health care? No, right? No. No matter what, no matter how poor their family is, no matter where they live, no matter how serious their medical pre-existing conditions, every child should have health care. Okay, right? I mean, right? So then I just constantly have libertarians in my mind that I argue with. So then what about adults? Should there be adults who do not have health care? And obviously it makes the whole idea of, whatever, I'm just going to stop. The whole idea of insurance is you have to pay in. The more people you have paying in, the more appropriately the whole system works. So that's why you have the mandate for people to be paying in, which was a big part of the ACA. When did you start watching Better Call Saul? What season were they on when you started? Good question, because I did not start at the beginning. But I went back to Better Call Saul in January 2021. I believe 2021 was when I started the Better Call Saul series. And I went back to Better Call Saul then because I got sick with COVID and I was just like bored. And at that point, I forget where they were at. They definitely weren't at the end. Obviously, they didn't have season 6. I don't remember if they had all. Or wait, I'm losing track of. Yeah, well, okay, yeah. So I had seen probably the first like 2 or 3 seasons by that time, and I probably hadn't seen like season 4. So I like rewatched it and then kept watching. But when I started watching BCS, they definitely had at least a couple seasons. And like I've said before, I watched it because I like Bob Odenkirk. I liked him from Mr. Show, his show with David Cross. And I was like, this guy's a comedic genius. And so I was like down to watch it. I don't remember exactly when I first watched Better Call Saul, though, but I'm sure it wasn't like right when it dropped. Because I wouldn't have been aware of it right when it dropped. Because I didn't watch Breaking Bad. So I wouldn't have even been aware of it, really. Yeah. All right, what else?
Skyler cares more about him killing Hank, which he indirectly did. And months later, when Walter calls Flynn and tells him about the money he's trying to get to him, Flynn similarly hung up on the whole Walter killing Hank thing. And even
I call him Flynn when I'm referring to scenes where he went by Flynn, and I call him Walt Jr. when I'm referring to scenes where he went by Walt Jr. I tried my best. I thought that was the best way to do it. I don't know. It's whatever. All right, I mean, what else? This is such a disturbing scene.
Jr.'s needs in this scene. He's ignoring or oblivious to the community's needs in this scene.
Yeah, I mean, he's a dysfunctional guy with no emotional awareness. Okay, well, what else? I mean, that's pretty much it. So 6 million views, very cool, very exciting, very unreal in some capacity. And, like, the average watch time is, like, 45 minutes. It's insane to me. That's so successful that I have people watching and listening to my voice for 45 minutes. Like, that's crazy. It's unfathomable. I know I love hearing myself talk, but wow. I guess some other people like hearing me talk, so. Very cool. Okay, again, subscribe to the podcast. Did any of you do that since I asked? No. You know, what the heck? Are we ignoring me? Do you hate me? Like, is that what's going on? So let me just, verbal journal and VJP clips. I can't even copy them because they're like written in the weird, right? I can't even, it's like VJP, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, go check out my podcast. I do it every week. If you like hearing me talk, you know what I'm saying? There's the podcast and then the clips channel. So that's in the chat right now. It didn't send as a link. But you can figure out, I think, how to get over there. And, what else? So let's move on to some other stuff. So let's talk about art really quick as a little palate cleanser. Okay. You know, I like art. I've been talking about that. I'm just going to show you 5 paintings I like. Okay. Is that okay with you? Is that okay with you? 5 paintings I like. First one, I'm reading a biography right now about Willem de Kooning. This is a great painting called The Glazier, or Glazier. I don't know the right word, how to pronounce that. It's from 1940. It's before his sort of blossoming into the stuff he's famous for, the black and white paintings, and then the Woman series and the abstractions after that. I just love this painting. I just thought this was really beautiful. And I really like I like the palette. I like the composition. He was obviously very inspired by Cubism and so on. And that guy who, was extremely obsessed with being a horrible person, Pablo Picasso. But, this de Kooning painting just, to me, is very beautiful. And, I just thought I'd show it to kind of give you a little bit of a palate cleanser after talking about Breaking Bad for so long. Next up, another painting I like. This is by Oskar Kokoschka. From quite a bit earlier. What is this? We don't have the date. Early 20th century. Not my favorite Kokoschka. I could show my favorite Kokoschka. Kokoschka political painting. Okay, maybe it's like the Hitler one is the Hitler Kokoschka painting. Is this it? What we are fighting for? That's pretty good. No, that is a good one. Oh, the red egg. The red egg. Yeah. The red egg painting. Yeah, this is my favorite Kokoschka. Let me pull this up for you. I think art is really great. We got any painters in the chat? Anyone painting? Other art forms are good too. Other mediums are good too. I just love painting, okay? It's just my thing I like. You can do other mediums. That's okay with me. So this is the Kokoschka I really like. I did see this in person when I went on my Europe trip last year. I forget where. Probably in Vienna. Very, very beautiful. It's about the end of World War II and the nations carving up territory and other aspects of things. I just like it. I mean, it's paintings like this made me want to do less abstract painting, and I've done more representational painting in the last 2 years because I just see the value in just like trying your hand at representational painting. And yeah, it feels meaningful. So I love the palette, like the brushstrokes, composition is beautiful, and it's just interesting. I don't know. So, okay, next up. I love my Gerhard Richter. Gerhard Richter, this is his classic style. He has a bunch of different classic styles, but this is his classic style. Amazingly talented, looks like a photograph, obviously, like an old photograph. And this was, at first I wasn't sure how he did this. From reading his biography, it does seem like he would paint it somewhat normally and then use a sponge to actually squish it sideways or some sort of sponge-like thing. Which is interesting. It takes a little away from it. I wish it was just all by hand personally, but I use weird materials. Sometimes I'll use a sponge or random things. One time I used a milk carton to like spread paint around and you get an interesting texture. So there's nothing wrong with that. It was surprising to me. I thought maybe he did it by hand, but maybe I'm not 100%. And it is by hand also. So even if it's used a sponge, so I don't know why I care about that. But yeah, beautiful Gerhard Richter painting. He's my favorite living artist. He's honestly probably one of my favorite artists ever. And he's one of the most well-adjusted artists. From reading his biography, like most artists have a lot of issues in their personal life, and he was like fairly well-adjusted. And it's like, hey, wow, credit where credit's due, dude. Next up, we got classic Courbet. He did 100 different wave paintings or something like that. I've never really noticed these colors here. What are those? They almost look like little boats. But this is just a beautiful Courbet painting. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. And then lastly on the art on the art segment here, my favorite artist of all time, Marcel Duchamp. He doesn't just make urinals or pick up urinals from the store and put them in a exhibit. He also was a painter. Sad Young Man on a Train. This is one of his classic paintings. Not his most famous, but quite famous. And obviously he was, in that cubistic, futuristic style. This was very early 20th century. But he did it in his own way. I love the restricted palette. I love that he wasn't copying Picasso. He was doing his own thing. In some ways slightly before Picasso, but also just like in his own way. I remember reading somewhere, it might have been in the Duchamp biography or somewhere else, that like he had the opportunity to meet Picasso on a bunch of occasions and just never did. Like he lived in France and, he could have easily met him. I think they might have met, like maybe they met, but like I remember reading somewhere that Duchamp just like, and I think Duchamp's older brothers who were artists like definitely knew Picasso better. And, Picasso was just an asshole. Like he was a huge asshole to everyone he knew. And everyone he didn't know. He was a horrible person. An asshole is putting it mildly in a lot of situations. But he was an abuser and a terrible human being to everyone. You know what I mean? To everyone. So I just love that about Marcel Duchamp. Marcel Duchamp was not perfectly well adjusted. He had his problems here and there. His irrational behaviors. Most famously marrying someone he like seemingly didn't like at all. just had like a midlife crisis and married someone for like 8 months or something. And then he had healthy relationships like after and before and stuff. But, you know, he had his weird things about him for sure. But pretty well adjusted. Pretty well adjusted for an artist for sure. So, okay, that was the art segment. So thank you for enjoying that with me. You know, it's very fun to talk art. I wanted to do just a little palette cleanser. And now, I wanted to also now take a few minutes. So you might have seen, like, obviously I have some stuff on the channel about relationships. I did this huge 5-hour video about relationships. I really would love more people to watch it. I'm going to be doing more stuff about relationships. I asked viewers to submit examples of relationship conflicts or challenges they've had. And I actually, I made one video about that. For the Patreon and members a year ago or something. And then I have more stories and things people sent in because I solicited again. I said, hey, send me relationship conflicts, challenges you've dealt with, and I'll give my take on them. And I never made that second video. So I'm going to be doing that fairly soon for patrons and members. Yeah, so... because I'm working on a book about relationships, like an actual book or short book, that's really a huge project. It's more time than the Breaking Bad video by a long shot. It's been like years in the works, and I'm making progress with it. Basically, I'm exploring how people work through conflicts in relationships in ways that maintain a healthy balance of power in the relationship. To me, that's what's very fascinating. So I will be publishing that eventually, and you all will be able to read it if you'd like. And I will be making a video accompanying that, and I will also be doing other things. Big things are going to be happening on this channel, so stay tuned for real. And you know, support the channel on Patreon or members if you want to get a little bit of the back end side of that. But now that we're here, let me talk about relationships a little on Reddit. You know, they have a whole Reddit page for relationships, so I thought let me just spend 10 minutes or something and go through some of these and give you my take on it so you could be like, so you could kind of see if I really know anything. So what's a relationship? No, wait, that's not where we're starting here. So this is the relationships page on Reddit where people post about their relationship problems, and I thought it'd be a good place to just go to just get random suggestions of things to talk about relationships. So, I don't want to read an update. Wife constantly cries and it's making me feel drained emotionally. Any advice? Sure, let's read that one. Is it long? Not too long? Kind of long. Okay, let's see. Okay, because this is hard, you know, if your partner is struggling a lot, that's really tough. So, I know how this is going to sound, but I'm seeking advice because I genuinely am drained. My wife constantly cries. It can be small things, big things, but she cries quite a lot. I comforted her a period of time, extremely depressed, where we were at a low point in our life, basically starting from scratch. I had to work a labor-intensive job just to get by, and she refused to work. Lounged at home, didn't even ask how I was. Okay, so now you're noticing new things are starting to come out. And this happens in therapy, too. Someone starts with one thing, but then as they talk about it more, you realize, okay, there's actually a lot more going on here. This is not just about this person's spouse crying. This is also about this person's spouse not giving them the sort of connection that they're looking for. Didn't ask how I was when I said I was low. She just complained about a lack of sex, to which I had to apologize for being depressed. You didn't actually, though. You don't have to. You don't have to apologize for being depressed. Anyways, I don't want to nitpick. In fact, I noticed it was a pattern. Every time I've needed to lean on her or get support, it's just not there. I can't discuss feelings because the moment I do, I get shut down. Or she will say things like, we are enmeshed. I'm not responsible for your emotions. I need X amount of space now. Defense. Question my masculinity. That's not cool. So generally, I don't share my feelings or where I'm at anymore. This sounds like a really big problem. She'll offload and cry, and I comfort her, but I have started feeling quite resentful and just drained. Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. I can understand that. There's never a day without it. It will range from deep crying and rehashing conversations with strangers. It could be jealousy surrounding someone, watching a TikTok and crying if someone else there's something she would like to do, crying about the image of trauma. it can go as far as her asking me for something about me and what I like, and within minutes I'm comforting her. She's crying and confused as to how we have got there. It came to a point I had to say, please don't ask me something just as a gateway to speak about you, because it does feel like my answer doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, okay, so the problem is not the crying. I mean, that's like one aspect of it, but the problem is the power dynamic. So I think thinking about power dynamics in relationships is really important. So whenever you're having a problem in your relationship, you should think about, how does this relate to power? Because healthy relationships have a relatively equal balance of power. And often when there's an unhealthy relationship, you can get to the resolution quicker if you think about it in terms of, how do we equalize the power relatively? It doesn't have to be perfect, but how do we equalize it relatively? So at a certain point, you have to communicate your needs, obviously. So, you want her to feel like she has no safe space. I don't want her to feel like she has no safe space, and I understand people are just criers. Yeah, the crying is not as much. I would start with getting your needs met. Before you try to change the other person's behaviors that are like not directly related to your needs, you could be like, well, her crying impacts my needs. But I would start by focusing on the stuff that you have the most leverage with. The idea that someone's not asking how your day is, for instance. Like, that's the thing that immediately needs to change. The idea that someone's not showing you emotional support. That's what immediately needs to change. You have the most leverage with that because everyone can agree that's something that people should do for their loved ones. Ask how they're doing, show support. Like there's these lines in this post about making comments about your masculinity. Like, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So like, start by fixing the most obviously unacceptable stuff, not the frequent crying, which is way more complicated and not within your control to have a real say about. So that's my little advice for that one. Let's go to the next one, because I saw it has to do with therapy. My therapist says I either need to date my best friend or leave him completely. That is a bizarre headline. Let's see. Hope it's not too long. Oof, that's long. Let's do the TLDR. I've spent years living and working with my best friend / business partner. Living and working. Okay. We were physically involved in the past, but never officially dated. He now has a girlfriend, and I've decided I no longer want any physical affection between us. That's fair. My therapist says I either need to date him or leave him completely because our dynamic is unhealthy. I want to know if she's right, whether my boundaries are reasonable. Okay, I do have to kind of read it now. That's not really something a therapist should say. It's sort of like the shrinking therapist, Jimmy, that I talk about in my video about shrinking. All right, let's read it. We met when we were young adults, blah, blah. I'm going to skim. Our relationship became emotionally, physically intimate, but we never officially became, we said we'd make it work. At one point, we were both casually talking to other people. I started talking about another guy. But this person started seeing another woman. Okay. This is complicated. Yeah. Ironically, I encouraged him to keep dating her. I didn't think it was fair to ask him to end a relationship. So just to be clear, there's something in between encouraging someone to keep dating someone and asking them to stop dating them. You don't have to do either if you're not, I don't know all the details, but you don't have to encourage someone or discourage someone. You could just encourage them. No, I'm just kidding. You could just be like, oh, cool. Like, I hope that works out for you, or whatever you want to say. Over the years, he stayed with his girlfriend. He and I continued living together. So that's super messy to be living with someone that you were previously romantically involved in. But, the shit's hard and people got to do what they got to do. But, she just had never moved in. All three of us got along. Eventually that changed after old history between, he told me he needed to prioritize. Okay, so most people think I'm secretly waiting for him to choose me. Okay, cool. Where does the therapist come into play? I don't want us to be physically affectionate anymore. Okay, so that's kind of the key. That's the first key. Again, focusing on needs, focusing on what wants and needs are intertwined. It's a spectrum. So like focusing on something you want, you need, that's where we start really making progress. So if you don't want to be physically affectionate, boom. That's easy. And it's like, that's simple. Maybe it's not easy, but it's simple, right? You don't want hugs, cuddling, or anything that feels romantic while he has a girlfriend. Great. Now you have to decide if you want to live together, of course, but yeah. He doesn't really understand the boundary. He says physical closeness with me is important to him emotionally. Well, tough shit. Like, you can't have both. You can't, like, someone's boundary, you can't push their boundary. If someone says they don't want to have physical intimacy, that's not debatable. That's not negotiable. So that's a red flag that he's trying to push that boundary. I voluntarily let him handle most of our finances because I like the dynamic of him taking the lead. Yes, that's something I can understand why you would regret, because that's not having a boundary, and then it's hard to maintain a situation where you have enmeshment in one area. It's hard to not have that bleed into other areas. It also just probably creates a lot of practical problems. So I'm very confused, honestly, about this in some ways, but what I don't know is whether I actually want a romantic relationship with him. Okay, well, that sort of doesn't matter. I'm assuming these people are all monogamous. It would be a little different if they're polyamorous, but I'm assuming they're monogamous based on the context. So it sort of doesn't matter if you want a romantic relationship with him. If he's in a monogamous relationship with someone else, that sort of answers your question. You don't want to wait for that to end, per se. I mean, you sometimes maybe could do that in a healthy way, but... Oh, they're business partners, too? I must have missed that. Okay. Where does the therapist come in? Okay. My therapist believes our dynamic is unhealthy and says we either need to commit to a relationship or stop doing life together. Okay, this feels a lot more reasonable now that I've read the take. Now that I've read the details. She thinks he wants the emotional closeness of our relationship while also maintaining a romantic relationship with someone else. It does sound like that, right? So it's like, do you want to consider being polyamorous? She also thinks I'm not respecting myself for living like that. Most of my friends agree with her and think he's taking advantage of me. It does sound a little bit like that. I mean, he's been your best friend. I would be best friends and not live together if you can. I would try to figure out a way to not live together. Living together with someone that you're potentially romantically interested in who's not available to you and also wants physical affection, something's got to change. I wouldn't say it's inherently toxic. It's just some aspects of it are toxic. I think you could transition to lifelong friendship or partnership without it being romantic. If you don't live together, it'll be a lot easier to do that. And your boundaries, all boundaries are reasonable. Yes, your boundaries are reasonable. By the way, y'all, maybe I'll just give you a little sneak peek here. I can't be a therapist to people who watch my YouTube videos because that's called a dual relationship. But I'm gonna start a thing where I do like relationship assistance, where I can help people with their relationship problems. So that's part of why I'm trying to talk more about relationships. I want to be like a relationships strategist, help people with, aspects of their relationships. That'll be my focus. I'm also going to help people with creative motivation, and I'm going to do this via video or audio calls in addition to YouTube videos and this book that I'm going to publish. So it's not available right now, but if in the future you ever want like a one-on-one, we talk for an hour and you pay me some amount of money that's fairly reasonable, I'm going to have that be an available service in the future. So something to think about. And that's part of why I'm doing this, because I looked into it and I was like, okay, I can't be a therapist for people from online, but I could still help with stuff and get paid for it, right? That's not like inherently predatory. And it could be if I marketed it in this way where I'm like, I'm going to solve all your problems, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to be lame. I'm not going to be, over promising. I'm not going to be overcharging. But that is going to be something that I'm going to make available. I'm trying to make moves to make that happen by the end of the year or something like that. So I'm going to publish this writing. People can read my thoughts. They could see if they want to pay me for one-on-one help with things. And yeah, it's not going to happen anytime immediately soon, but that is something I'm trying to plan to figure out ways to kind of just, get my ideas out there more, help people a bit, make a bit of money. And I really like analyzing relationships. And I think I'm fairly good at it in some ways. So let's look at maybe one more before we get out of here. My boyfriend won't compromise on it. So I always think when I read these posts, it's like, have you talked to the person about it, right? because people will express themselves really well in these posts, and then they'll like, and then they're probably bringing a different energy to the relationship because we express ourselves very differently when we have one audience versus another. And it's very hard sometimes to speak your heart to the person you care about when you know they might have some negative reactions to it. It's still really important to do. But yeah, that's always my first thought. And it's always something that comes up in therapy. It's like, well, have you talked about that with that person, you know? And how do you, that's part of what I do in therapy and what I could do in a non-clinical setting too, because it's not specifically related to mental health issues often. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. Helping people just with strategies of effective communication can be a non-clinical thing outside of the mental health treatment context. So that's something that I'm looking forward to helping people with because I'm pretty okay at communicating, I'd say. So, okay. I feel like I'm going crazy. No matter what it is, my boyfriend, it's his way or a huge problem. We have been together about 2 years. He keeps the air conditioner on at the lowest setting all summer because he smokes and goes outside a lot and gets super overheated. I mean, every ceiling fan on, every mini split at lowest setting. I feel like I'm in an ice box. Oh, lowest setting in that way. I was confused. I added a blanket to the bed, but he says it makes him too hot, so he kicks it off at night and I often wake up freezing. Okay. Should I read the whole thing before I give my thoughts? I often wake up freezing. My nose is cold. I have a dog who's always likes to snuggle me on the couch, but he doesn't like dogs on the couch, so my dog can't be on the couch ever. I asked if we could get a separate piece of furniture that I could use for just my dog. He said no because then he couldn't snuggle me. This is ridiculous. I load the dishwasher silverware down in the little basket thing so I don't get poked or touch the eating and the utensil while unloading. He says I'm doing it wrong. He needs to be face up because that's how he likes it. I don't like when he sleeps with his leg up on top of me because it hurts my hips, but he will just straight up tell me no and act like I didn't speak or wait. This sounds horrible. Maybe I'm just too passive or whatever, but I just cannot figure out a way to make him compromise even a little. You can't make someone compromise. It's their job to compromise. What the heck do? I love him. I just want some consideration of literally any of my preferences. I told him I want things differently than he does, but it always just ends in a dead end. I don't want to push it until it's a fight. So, unfortunately, a lot of the time with relationship problems, you have to be prepared to end the relationship. It doesn't mean you have to threaten to end the relationship. It doesn't mean you have to like rush to end the relationship. Obviously not when you care about someone. But you often do kind of have to be prepared to end the relationship. Now, that's especially hard in this day and age when the cost of living is so high. Because a lot of times people, unfortunately, are like, I don't know where else to live. Like, I don't know. And it's part of the reason you should really try to get your life together as best you can so that you can be as independent as possible and be in healthy relationships and get out of unhealthy relationships. So like really do your best to like try to be self-sustaining as much as possible. Maybe that doesn't mean doing it all yourself. Maybe that means relying on friends and family in normal, reasonable ways, you know, and not only relying on your partner. So like, you know, using all your resources, building up resources, finding local resources and getting your money up as best you can. Obviously it's hard out there. But you do kind of, I hate to say it, but you do have to be prepared to end a relationship sometimes. You have to be like, I'm not going to suffer forever to a certain extent. There's a certain amount of suffering that's going to be natural, but I'm not going to suffer forever, you know? So I'm going to like, I'm going to try to resolve this. And if it doesn't resolve, I deserve to be happy. Now, this is obviously totally unacceptable behavior. So what we're getting here is a description from someone who's dealing with a partner, you know, taking it all at face value, dealing with a partner who's being completely unreasonable and being unacceptably selfish. Really, there's no better word. It's selfish. And I encourage everyone to make sure you have, this is something is in my book that I'm working on about relationships. Define selfishness. And I have my definitions. I define it as putting your wants before someone else's needs. But basically that's a simplistic way of putting it. But you have to be able to define selfishness to know what's what and what's okay in relationships. So here, obviously, we're describing someone being selfish. So my advice to this person would be very calmly, very rationally explain that this is unacceptable to you, if it is. You know, do you want to go on the next 5 years in the same way, or is it unacceptable? If it's unacceptable, very calmly explain, you know, maybe some of these are more unacceptable than the other. Maybe you're like, okay, we didn't get a couch. That's no big deal. You know, but the AC needs to be different. You know, certainly him hurting your hips by putting his leg on you is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Because obviously that's putting someone's wants before someone's needs. Your physical pain at his leg being on you is more important than his need to have his leg that way. If he needs to have his leg that way, get a pillow. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like there are certain, you write down all the problems, rank them by which is most unacceptable, and then start with the most unacceptable ones and say, hey, you know, and do it in a really, really rational way. So you can feel good later, like you gave it your best shot. And say, hey, I love you. We have so many things we connect on. I love it. I don't want to fight. I need you to know, and use the word need. I need you to know that this is not acceptable to me, and that I cannot continue with X, Y, and Z. You know, whatever the most unacceptable things are. I feel that compromise is a healthy part of relationships, and I need us to be able to compromise more. But honestly, if you're not prepared to end a relationship, you'll be avoiding certain conflicts. And it doesn't mean you should be eager to end a relationship or like rush to end a relationship, but sometimes you have to be like okay being alone. You have to be okay being alone, and you have to be like, it's, you know, I'm going to try to advocate for my needs here, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. We're just not compatible. So a few of these things are, and then some of the communication, it sounds like some of the communication of this person's partner is rude. And so there's also those types of needs where you say, hey, I need you to not be rude to me. I need you to respond to what I say. I need you to treat me with respect. And if they get mad and they throw a fit, maybe you walk away, you stay calm. Maybe you later say, hey, I'm not happy with how that went. Do you stand by the way you reacted? You know, you try to give it one or two more shots, and at a certain point, you have to be prepared to end the relationship. So, okay, so that was a little taste of my thoughts on relationships. Just going through the Reddit. I could do more of that if you like. Feel free to comment. Let me know if you like that. So, before we get out of here, one thing that I thought would be kind of fun, technically, is I thought it'd be fun to potentially just kind of play a little chess. I don't know if you like chess, but I've done this before on the channel. Just play a little chess. So, someone commented, anything you would tell a newly formed romantic couple? Yeah, just, love each other. No, I don't know. Like, just don't put too much pressure on each other, and, try to meet your own needs, and don't expect the other person to meet all your needs. And make sure you stay connected with friends and fulfilled in all the ways outside of your relationship, so that you can have reasonable expectations for the relationship and not expect it to fulfill you in every possible way. Okay, so now let's play just a little chess, right? A little chess never hurt anyone. Except Bobby Fischer. That dude got fucked up by chess. Okay, let's play a little bit of chess. Shall we? So 3 minutes with 2-second increments. So I play the d4. I play d4, which is queen's pawn opening. Very standard, very normal opening. And then, okay, that's a bizarre response that people do a lot. I just take it. They think they're getting me into it like some sort of gambit. I don't really think this is a gambit. They might even now move that. I'm going to pre-move. Yep. I play this opening a lot. People do this. I don't think it's good for black at all. I don't know why they think. And now I'm going to trade queens. And now they can't castle. Now they can't castle. And go ahead and take that pawn if you want. But actually, I'm going to develop take that knight if you want. I'm going to develop my bishop. There, Now, I don't want them to take this pawn. That will be too severe. Well, you know what I can do? I can let them take that pawn if they want. If they trade pieces right now, my bishop's on a line to take this pawn, which is quite threatening because then I would take that rook. So now I'm pushing them exactly where I want them. Okay? This is perfect for me. I'm feeling fantastic. Except I'm like sick. So now I'm up material, right? Because if we go back to the beginning, I have a pawn. I'm up a pawn. Up upon a world so high like a diamond in the sky. So I am up a pawn. I will just say, so all I really need to do is now kind of consolidate my situation. So I'm going to move this rook here so I can do a discovered check. Yeah, and they're worried about it. They're worried about it. I'm going to just develop my pieces and try to castle. I don't know. I think they're trying to put that knight here and then get this pawn. So I'm going to prioritize not letting that happen. Now I think I could develop my bishop. And then that's perfect. Now they're going to probably develop their knight. I'm sure that, or maybe they bring their king back. That's weird. That's a really weird move. What the hell is that about? What? That's a bizarre move. Because now I can pin the knight in a way that feels kind of like really threatening. Like, check this out. Because now they can't move the knight and I'm threatening to advance my pawn and then just take that knight. They're probably going to move the h-pawn. But they know that they're in a tight spot here. Because now they're in a really... Now, they could also develop that... Well, no, they can't develop the knight because I can still push the pawn. And they can't take it because it's guarded by this knight. So, they really have, like, no counterplay. That's the thing. When you do an... When you do an opening like this, you're going to try... You're giving up a pawn, so you got to get counterplay. You got to get some play. Now, I'm just going to draw their king out even more. Because that's, like, good to have their king in, like, these unsafe positions. Now, I probably want to push this pawn, but I kind of like where it is also. So maybe I'll just castle. Let me just castle. I'm doing great. Because I'm up material. Yeah, they're wasting a lot of time with these king moves. So maybe, now I'm not up so much. Like, I could still easily mess up and it would be an even game. So I'm not up like that much, but I'm going to try to... I'm down on time also. I'm going to try to... Well, their bishop is now trapped? No, not exactly. Well, not exactly. They're going to put their bishop here and I trade it. But if I am just trying to get material off the board, because I am up material. So trades of material are good for me. Now, I think if I can... do this, I'm sort of forcing a knight trade because I'm threatening this pawn. Yeah, and maybe a rook trade too. Oh, no? So, yeah, okay, so I'll just put this bishop back here, and I'm feeling absolutely fantastic now in this position. So, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling quite good. We have same color bishops, but the big difference in this position is this pawn. Remember, they sacrificed their king's pawn in the beginning, and so the big difference in the position is the king's pawn. Now, if I take, they take back and their rook has an open file, that's kind of an advantage for them. I don't love that, but it's probably just worth it, and I can just do a rook trade here. So... Oh, okay. That's interesting. Now, that's interesting. Now what I'm going to do is this. This is clever. A rook lift. So now if they trade, I take back and my pawn's running. And if they don't trade, I bring my other rook over and I have doubled rooks. Oh, I do have to worry about time. I'm doing a lot of talking. They just lost a rook. They forgot they just lost a rook. But they're going to get a pawn, but that's not that great. All right, I got to play quickly here. They just lost a rook. That's bad for them. They just lost a rook, and they're gonna lose a pawn. They blundered. They blundered. It's okay. It happens. It happens. It happens. By the way, check out the VJP Clips channel if you'd like to see me analyze a clavicular losing a chess game. It's really funny. Okay. All right. Let's take care of business here. Let me clean up the mess here and get out of here. Get out of this situation. So now, if I go here, they can't take with their pawn, or else they lose their rook. They could take with their rook, and they might. But that's not good for them either. I'm winning massively here, material-wise. Okay, I'll just do that, and if they take with their bishop, I'm trading bishops, but they're not going to do that because that would be stupid. So now I'm threatening their bishop. They probably put it there, but I don't know. What do I do here? How do I get... Maybe do I pin the bishop? Is that something that can happen? I mean, I could really trade my rook for a bishop very comfortably right now. Because I'm so up in material, I'm able to do that. I'm able to do that. I shouldn't do too much trading. Okay, I'm really down on time here. Okay, I'm going to try to... Okay, so my bishop is being threatened. So that's not ideal. But I'm just gonna trade my bishop for 2 pawns. Actually, that's not ideal. I really traded it for 1 pawn. So now I'm only up 2 pawns. I was up a lot more before, but this is getting a little bit tense here. Okay, I don't want their king to advance anymore, or else it could become quite... Oh, fuck, I lost a pawn. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I thought I had some sort of counterplay there. That's not good. Okay, now this is bad. I could almost draw this. I might lose my win here. Let's see. Let's see. Oof, can I get it? Can I get it? If I trade rooks, I think I'm good. No. Oh, yeah, I'm good here. Come on, I'm good. I'm good. Look at this.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Did someone just give me money? Oh my god! Revised Cone, you are floating my whole channel. Thank you for the huge $50 gift. You are so kind. And you seriously have like, yeah, you really, I don't know how to win this. Thank you so much, Revised Cone. You gave me a huge gift last month, and it genuinely makes a difference in my life. Oh, I'm going to win this game. So, thank you so much for the $50 gift. That's incredible, and seriously, it makes a difference in my life to get donations or gifts like this from people. And just for that, I'm going to win this game, so you all get to see me win a game. This is actually a little bit hectic here. If I push my pawn... Oh, no, that's good. That's perfect. Yeah, their only move is to go here. I go here, and then I queen. Fantastic. And then I get my king over a little bit. Okay, they think they're getting away, but... Oh, then I get their king in a more tight spot. And then you make sure you don't stalemate, of course. And then you checkmate. Should we do one more game? One more game, and then we'll get out of here. So that was fun. Wow, thank you so much, Revised Cone. That really brightens my day. No problem. Anyone who doesn't give money, you know, it's rough out there, but thank you so much. That makes a huge difference. Appreciate it. Okay, so another game of chess. So I don't really love the idea of them bringing a piece right here. I'm okay with them taking this pawn if they want, because I'll get it back eventually. And it puts them in a not ideal position. So actually, you know what I want to do? I want to scare this knight away and then put my bishop right here. Yeah, go ahead, take that. Where are you gonna put your knight? Actually, yeah, that's pretty good, right? Just put my bishop there now, right? Yeah, you have to move the rook, yeah. And then I go like this. And now, so that's the move where now I take the pawn back. That's okay if they take the bishop. Now, it's probably better for me to do this, though, and get the rook in a really weird spot. So, there. Now we're even material, see? So perfectly good. I don't want to take here because then they develop when they take back. Now, what about this pawn push? Takes. No, they got me there. Well, let me castle. And then if they go there, that's fine. They develop a bishop probably. Maybe I'll do like this. So see what's going on there. Okay, check. Now, what about this pawn? Are you not worried about that pawn? Okay, we'll do a queen trade. That's fine. What's the deal here? Are we even material? I lost a pawn. Gained a pawn. Yeah, we're even material. Okay. Okay, they can't develop these knights super well because of my center pawns, and that's really good. They're going to put their rook right there. So maybe I want to preempt that. Well, they could still do it, and then we could do a rook trade. That might actually not be ideal for me. Yeah, because I don't like the idea of their knight coming out to a different spot, because now their knights are not really able to do anything. So I'm going to instead just develop my knight, and then to try to develop my knight again, and let us do a rook trade in a different way that's more advantageous for me. Oh, this is really good, actually, because now my knight's threatening that, so they have to do the rook trade, kind of, because I was threatening a fork. Now, their knights are going to develop. It's, you know, it's not like permanently they can't develop. I really like my knight being here, though. This has got to be good, right? And yeah, I'm going to take a pawn now. They're going to move their king there, right? It's not like you could do... What are you trying to do? Really? Okay, but then I take with check. Okay. Check again. There, I just got a free pawn for nothing. Okay, so... well, now maybe I do want to trade knights, but they also still can't like really move their knights anywhere. So that's the thing. We have we don't have even material now. I have a pawn more, 3, 6. So I have a pawn more, but even if we did have even material, if their pieces can't move, now they should have put their knight here and figured out a way to get it into the game like much quicker. I'm gonna just push here because I think this is a pass pawn now. That's a pawn that's threatening to do some shit. You know what? If they take back with the knight, that would be really good for me. Because I want that trade. Because I'm going to put them in check here. And that just feels good. I mean, because now I'm pinning their knight, and so I'm threatening to take this pawn. Oof. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Oh, now they're going to take my pawn, actually. Okay, I think I messed up there. I did mess up there, because they're going to take my pawn now. So I'll take a pawn if they take that pawn. That's okay. And they don't really want their king in the middle of the board like this. So now they're probably going to push. I would have pushed the pawn there because I'm going to pin the knight again. Now they probably move the king. Maybe they attack my knight, or like not attack my knight, but maybe they move the. No, you got to move the king back. You can't move the king forward, right? Now I don't want to move my like. This is not ideal for me. I'm up one pawn, but where do I want my knight? Like, what am I doing here? Like, I think, this is a fairly complicated position. So maybe I'll just threaten to take a pawn, kind of make them keep. I'm trying to keep the tempo, which is like the initiative. Revised Cone said, it feels really good to give to people. Thank you so much, Revised Cone. Well, I really appreciate it. I hope you have a lot of disposable income, and it really makes a difference. You're giving me the amount of money you gave me my last stream genuinely helped me a lot last month, and I believe I just got it in my bank account from YouTube because they make you wait a month. But it really makes a difference, and I appreciate it immensely. You know what? Okay, I don't want to get down to like 10 seconds again. That's kind of a recipe for disaster. So, oh wait, I can do this. Now they're in a tight spot. Oh no, they go up there. Okay. Yeah, I don't really want their rook to jump into the position. This is looking a little bit hectic. And then if they push this pawn, I can't take because they would take my knight. So I'm going to get my knight free, but this is not... I'm not like comfortable right now. I'm up one pawn and it's a good pawn because it's completely just running if we get material off the board. But they're threatening to do some work here. And I don't want to get too close or else they could fork my king and my rook with their knight. They're going to push this potentially, so I'll just pre-move that. No, wow, that's weird. See, if I put my king right here, they fork by going right there. So I don't want to do that. But that's a good trick. They almost did. They almost got me to mess up. Is this a fork? Can they fork me? I don't think so. There's some... I wish I was better at, you know, perceiving stuff like this, but... Oh, I gotta... Oof, this is a little tricky here. This is not ideal, because now they put their rook there. Ugh. I think they might be figuring something out here. Oof. Okay. I don't know, y'all. This is tough. Did they fork? Oof. Oh, I lost on time. That's sad. Because I actually, if I was playing with not on the cursor, I would have obviously just taken their rook. It's very obvious. And if you look at the analysis, I'm winning here. I'm crushing. So they just beat me on time. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. We don't want to end on a loss. You know, I owe it to you all to not end on a loss. Oh, I'm playing black. I feel like I played white the last. Oh, they aborted the game. Okay, scared? Okay, let's play black. Let's see what's up. And playing black is a little harder because your opponent goes first. It's like, you know, it's a little bit harder. Oh, interesting. They're really aggressive, huh? Okay. Are they going to take? I'll queen trade if they take. I'm pre-moving it so they feel a little jarred. They want to put their knight here, but I'm not going to allow that. Yeah, I'm not feeling great about this. I really got to practice my my play as black. Huh. That's a weird choice. That's a weird choice, I think. Are they going to push this queen's pawn again? That might be good, but then I take their bishop, they take my bishop, I take the pawn. Okay, so I just got a pawn. And now do I scare away their knight first? I don't love that. I want to get this pawn away. So let's take care. Actually, if they take and I take with the queen, actually, oh, they have a tactic. So if they take with the knight and I take with the queen, they do bishop takes here, check, and then my queen falls from their queen, if you see what I'm saying. So they actually can take this pawn back, and I can't take it back, because then they have this tactic of bishop takes pawn check. They didn't see it, which is good. But let's try to... And that's... Yeah, so let's try to keep up the work here. Oh, I don't know why I didn't realize they could just take. Whoops, that was a mistake. That was just a blunder. Okay. Okay, well. They're going to develop the bishop. And then I'm going to have to take. This is not good, you know. I'm going to put my bishop here so they can't push that pawn. Their bishop's a little bit blocked, but they put their bishop here. They should have put their bishop there, because that could have prevented me from, like, castling potentially. And they're probably going to do it now. But then now I got a little bit more initiative here. So let's see. Let's see. Ooh, a little threatening of the rook, but I don't mind pushing c6 here. It's kind of useful, but yeah, they're going to do this bishop move. But they might start with like a rook thing, which would give me time to castle. All right, let's see. Let's see. How are we feeling in the chat? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to... It's okay if they take the knight and make it... Well, no. It's actually not okay. Because if I was going to develop this knight here to threaten their bishop, but then if they take the knight and I take back, this pawn falls. So that's not good. Yeah, they got me in a really tight spot here. I'm going to try to get this pawn away. I might have just... I might be blundering. I'm not sure. Now if they take the knight, that's fine. Because I'm still guarding this pawn with this knight. They're probably going to... Yeah. Chess is the best. I play like so many games a day. I just play bullet chess usually. Oh, this is rough. I am in a rough spot here. Okay, wait. Can I jump into the position? There we go. Okay, this solves the bad knight and the bad pawn. But do I take back with the bishop first? Because all my pieces are bad. I have a terrible position. This has been a rough game. I've just had a terrible position the whole game. It's hard playing black, and it's just hard. Okay, so do I take back with the bishop? No, I got to take back with the pawn, but it's all the same probably? Yeah, it is all the same if they want to do another trade. Well, what if I push this pawn first, but then they just back up the bishop a little? I don't really like any of my pieces, so I'm happy to just trade them all. I mean, all right, well, this is rough. Oh, wait, what? They took with the rook? Okay, that gives me a slight chance. I guess they wanted the bishop pair? That's... Or they... Oh, because my rook is trapped. Okay, that was clever. That's actually clever as hell. Because my rook is trapped, so they knew they would get my rook regardless. But I will get a bishop, so they gave up the exchange, and then now they're getting the exchange. They gave up a piece for a rook, and now they're getting a rook for a piece. So they have 5 pawns, I have 4 pawns. So they're just up 1 pawn. And they have a bishop for a... oh, whoa. This is bad. Oh, they got me. They got me because I can't move the knight or else they put the rook here and then get my rook. So I just... Oh, wait a second. Wait. Yeah, no, never mind. Okay, so they're only up a pawn still. Okay, I'm finding some resources here to stay alive. And they do have a potential issue where they have their king trapped on the back rank. So now they need to deal with that because I'm threatening checkmate. So that was a good... Oh, fuck. They're threatening 2 pawns at once. Okay. Okay, well, let's see. Let's see. They're not crushing. They're not crushing. If I were them, I would not have traded all those pieces. Oh. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. There we go. Yeah, I'm holding on for dear life here. This is not ideal. This is not ideal. Okay, wait. That wasn't a good move by them. Okay. All right. What do I do? How do I live? What do I do? Because if I take this pawn, then they take that pawn. Well, I'll just do it. Less to think about in the endgame here. So they're up a pawn, but I have a pawn that's like passed. I mean, I don't have my rook in the right position. They have their rook in the right position. But they can't really... Their rook is kind of stuck right now, a little bit. But my rook is stuck too. That's the problem. Okay, but I can go like this, and if they take that pawn, it's going to be bad for them. Because I would then do some funny business over here. But yeah, they've got me. Because they probably don't even need to use their rook with these 3 pawns that they have. So they're going to push the pawn again, maybe? But that seems a little too much. I don't know. They might overplay their situation here a little bit. Now they're going to... oh, wait. No, that was bad. They just fucked up. Because I got to put them in check, and now they have to trade their rook for my queen. That's great. That's what I needed. Okay, that was a comeback, y'all. That was a comeback. back. That's why you never give up and you never surrender. That was a comeback. Woo! Let's go. Okay, push the pawn, put me in check, do what you got to do. I don't care. I don't even care because I just did a comeback. Let's go. Let's go, chat. Am I washed? No, I'm not washed. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, this is slightly annoying. Well, not really. I'll just put my rook there, and then they'll try to get it. I'll go here, and then I'll go here, and then I'll go just, yeah. Yep, there we go. Let's go. And then you want to make sure you don't stalemate them, so you always got to make sure the king has a place it can go. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's how you do a comeback. Woo! So just to show you that critical moment, just in case, you know, if you don't play a lot of chess, it's not obvious. So what they need to do here, because their rook is stuck. Their rook is stuck because if it goes anywhere, I can do an analysis board. If their rook goes anywhere here, I messed up apparently, but it's a delicate game. So if their rook, like, let's say their rook takes my pawn, then I go check, and and then anything they do, I get a queen, and they don't even have their rook to take back the queen, right? And then also, wow, so I missed actually a few opportunities because the thing I'm looking for is that check. I'm looking for a way, because even though their rook is stuck, my rook is also stuck. I missed a lot of opportunities. I played really badly. That's the problem with looking at the analysis. I had a lot of opportunities for the rook check. And the reason the rook check is so big is because their rook is stuck, but my rook is stuck also. And I need my rook to move so that I can queen the pawn and then make them sacrifice their rook for that queen, take it back, because all you need is a rook to win. You don't need a queen. So I'm looking for an opportunity where I can both move my rook and maintain tempo, maintain initiative, which is only possible when you put them in check because they have to respond to that check, making it so I could queen. So I was looking for an opportunity to put them in check with the rook, but I wasn't looking hard enough because I had a bunch of opportunities that I missed. And then their job would be to make sure that they can't allow me to move my rook and put them in check at the same time, because that's what led to a disaster. So anyways, that's that. Glad we got to end on a positive note. Yeah, thank you all for watching my channel. Obviously, we were here to celebrate the Breaking Bad video, and I think we did. I think we had a great time. I hope you had a great time. Thank you to 6 million views, 6,018,410. I'll try to keep making YouTube videos because it seems like some people occasionally enjoy them. So thanks so much. And again, if you watch this long, you probably enjoy hearing me talk. So check out my Verbal Journal podcast, link in the description, as well as the VJP Clips channel, where we talk about all kinds of fun stuff. Okay. Really appreciate the support. Really appreciate the attention. And thank you so much for participating. So all the best and keep doing good stuff. I'll talk at you in the future. Okay. Bye-bye. Maybe I'll do the music. Yeah. Bye-bye.